Hey, my fellow multidimensionals, it's Aisha, founder of Multidimensional You. We're going to continue the Awakening the Healer Within series as I'm being interdirected to show up in my soul purpose, which is to catalyze, activate, encourage, and champion all of you in your alignment with your soul purpose as healers and to be able to overcome any internal resistance. Watch out for any, kind of minefields and traps along the way that would have you using your incredible energy and your gifts in ways that don't necessarily serve the collective as much as they're serving your ego, as well as, I'm being told right now, begin to bring convergence and unity consciousness together in ways that, frankly, I think the old soul healers can way show through their own demonstration of their personal healing and development, which has to do with, this is all just riffing coming right in, didn't know any of this was going to come through. It has to do with getting out of silos and competition. And so we're going to talk today about signs that you know that you're a healer. For many of you, you already know that, but there is still a great degree of resistance to what I'm being shown is like the next level activation of your healing abilities that don't necessarily fit in a box. They don't require certification or any of that. And that woven right into this conversation today is an invitation to begin gently and lovingly observing the ways in which you are still maybe stuck in a competition hierarchy paradigm. I've seen a lot of this over the years. And I know in my heart of hearts that we are not in competition with one another. We are all meant to be complementary in the same way that an ecosystem works beautifully in symbiosis, and there are many different components to it. This is the way that we set up our healing approach. But of course, we forgot because we were socially programmed and conditioned in a highly hierarchical model of competition, lack, scarcity, and yeah, I can feel the field shifting as we're having this conversation. So we're going to broaden back out to understand that this conversation is predicated upon the notion that unity consciousness features a multidimensional ecosystem in which many different parts are weaving together. Many people who have crossed over and come back will often refer to this as like everything is just perfect, right? So there's this invitation to begin seeing yourself not in competition with others, which is fundamentally a self-worth issue. So it's a way to keep yourself in kind of a silo and apart and against, rather than in a collective, in unity, in complementarity. And what I'm hearing right now is this throat chakra wants to clear for everyone in your authenticity. And what I'm being shown now, that is the crux of the message today, is that we would really like to invite you into your most authentic expression as a healer. And the healer is shorthand, if you remember from last video, for you have a service contract. You wanted to show up and help and play the role of healer of some kind in this reality system at this time. And what is most important in order to recognize going forward, whether you've stepped into your healing soul path, purpose or not, or you're ready to go and step into the next level of it, is to remove the competition paradigm altogether. I'm kind of letting that just sink in for a minute. For some, competition with others is a way that you justify resisting the calling to healing because other people are already doing it. Why add one more? Goes the justification. The answer lies in the fact that you are a unique constellation of a multidimensional self with incredible soul experience, over soul and beyond experience, that is coming through, wants to come through in service at this time, and no other individual will bring through the exact same version. So if you don't bring that through, no one else is going to. And this is why the video I did a couple of videos back on the mashup of everything you love is so critical and key to this construct and to this idea and to this invitation. You will deny the world your unique, authentic constellation of curated healing arts, way showing, inspiration, encouragement, and just downright love if you resist the call to align with your soul purpose and if you try to do it in a way that emulates what others have already done. That's not to say you can't be inspired by and borrow from, but we would really like to see you do it in your own unique, authentic way. That is the gift that you are, that you have to offer. So here are a few indicators that you are meant to step into a healing role of some kind or another. They are not total. There are others besides this. They're not comprehensive and exhaustive. And some of you may resonate with some and not others. So please do not use that as an excuse to say, see, that one, I know, see, I'm not a healer because that doesn't resonate for me. Don't play that game. Many of you maybe were like me as a kid. I was always rescuing wounded animals. Animals were always coming up to me, wanting to help other people, always. Friends, strangers, telling you their life story, like a shoulder to lean on. You're knowing things without being told may have shocked people around you, especially adults. Any sort of metaphysical or paranormal experience of like, you shouldn't see that or know that, maybe, aware of past crossed over relatives. Or just in general, people's emotional states. You may have often been told that there was something unique about you in terms of maybe it was translated as you're very mature for your age. There's something very special about you. You have a magnetism that seems to draw people in. Maybe you had a hard time being around others growing up, probably because you could feel all of their stuff. And then full on into the experiences. You've had interdimensional, extra-dimensional experiences. You might be sitting on those. You might not have told anybody about them because it's too weird. And then the one that is pinging the loudest is that you just know there's something you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you're still in kind of a conventional lifestyle and you just feel it. I certainly went through that. I always felt like there's something else, but I couldn't figure it out. So I bounced around in all the different career areas that, of course, cumulatively looking back, have served me tremendously as I was invited by my own soul and spirit team to step into running a metaphysical-based business that has taken many different iterations over the years, landing, of course, in my current wheelhouse, which is encouraging all of you to step into your healing identity construct and role and kind of get a move on, right, during this time of a healing renaissance. So the other videos in this series are linked below. I highly encourage you to watch those if you missed them. There is this kind of conversation that is building upon itself at this time. Today is the equinox. It is the fall equinox in the Northern Hemisphere, and I am in Jackson doing events and doing my version of listening to my inner directives and using my own interests, passions to create a life and a new beginning that really is actually a full spiral. So I came out west some 22 years ago and worked on environmental restoration. And today, and this whole week, I have been out doing multidimensional field work on larger living creation, planetary ley lines, and way beyond restoration. So if you told me 22 years ago I would be back here in this capacity with a YouTube channel, I would have been like, what now? What now? So you may surprise yourself and you may be in resistance to the inner prompt, but I promise you that when you get on the other side of that, you will be so on purpose and feel so fulfilled in ways that are frankly just breathtaking. And that's what I wish for you. And that's why I make these videos. And that's why I still move through my own resistance to reach out. Just recently was guided to reach out and begin collaborations, which is not something I was guided to do so much in the past. But we are in a massive convergence at this time across many different dimensional levels. And that means many of us will be called to collaborate. And so honor that impulse as well. And I think we will be amazed at what we were told at the beginning of this video, is that if we show complementarity through collaboration and get ourselves out of any sort of notion that we're in competition, we're really showing kind of the next multidimensional economy in which the currency is love and unity. As always, if you would like more individual support, I have several options for that on the website. And I'm really excited to announce that I will be hosting an event in Brittany, France in late October, as well as opening up some private days in Paris during that same time frame, maybe into the early part of November. We'll see how it goes. And all that information is linked below and on the website as well. And finally, if you have not joined the membership program Higher Love Family, I invite you to do that. There's some major activations happening in there and incredible conversations and paradigm shifts that are frankly blowing all of our minds and hearts. Each month we're doing an activation, an afterglow, and a global meditation every Thursday, and the recording is in the archives and you have access to all the archives that have come before. It kicked off with 8-part Higher Love series in May, and frankly it just continues to blow my mind in a good way. So again, just me living out my own message that's been coming through me, which is show up in service, follow the inner prompt, and you will be blown away at what comes through, which is all about higher love and living in a higher harmonic. All right, my daughter and I are off to Yellowstone. We haven't been there since she was 12, so we're super stoked to go back into the park and explore. Turns out there's an amethyst mountain in Yellowstone National Park that I will be making a little trip to. The way that my field work works is I am just thinking I'm looking on a map and all of a sudden my attention is drawn to a certain area, and that will be some interesting multidimensional field work to conduct, and I will be sure to report back on what goes down. And if I can ask a favor, for those of you who have stepped into some form of your healing or you're about to, what in your direct experience, how did you know that you were a healer? Probably some of what I've mentioned, but I'll bet there's some other indicators. Maybe you had some sort of full-blown experience that changed you, and some sort of spontaneous awakening of some kind, maybe a near-death experience, shared death experience in my case with my father really kicked open the doors for me. Please share that below. Even maybe there's something more subtle that we're missing here and that other people might be missing, and kind of go, hey, that's me too. And then one last invitation's coming through my field. What do you need help with right now? What are you struggling with right now? We've been in some major solar storms. Some of them are like 24-hour long geomagnetic storms, the solar plasmas and coronal mass ejections. If you're curious about this, you can go to spaceweather.com. That's where I keep track of this weather. And, migraines, all the stuff, headaches, people are going through a lot as we purge out and displace a lot of density at this time and distortion. So just take good care of yourselves and let me know, what kind of support are you looking for, in addition to just all the love I'm going to send you every week through these videos. Again, I see you. I know who you are. You can do it. You wouldn't have given yourself these gifts if they weren't meant to come through. And here comes the wind to validate it. See how that works? Can I get an amen? All right. I love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.